Hey students, in this lecture we'll continue our study of linear operators on an inner product space and their adjoints. So before starting, let's recall what we have studied in our previous lecture. In previous lecture we have studied that A times of T, its adjoint was equals to conjugate of A times of adjoint of T. Adjoint of T was T itself, and adjoint of sum of two linear operators was equal to sum of their adjoints. We are going to use these properties in our today's lecture. So let's start. Our first theorem states that let T be a linear operator on a finite dimensional inner product space V over F. So here we are having V, a finite dimensional inner product space over the field F. And T is some linear operator defined on this space. We have to show that T can be uniquely expressed as the sum of a self-adjoint and a skew-symmetric operator. So what we want to prove in this theorem is that T can be expressed as uniquely. So we have to focus on this word uniquely. And second thing which we want to prove is that T can be expressed as sum of a self-adjoint and a skew-symmetric operator. So in the proof we have to focus on two things. Firstly, we will prove that T is expressible as a sum of a self-adjoint and a skew-symmetric operator. That is, we will prove T is sum of two operators, say T1 and T2, where one operator will be self-adjoint and other operator will be skew-symmetric. Fair enough? Then we will prove that this expression for T, this expression of T as a sum of a self-adjoint and a skew-symmetric operator is always unique. This expression is always unique. Okay? One thing you have to take care is that here we are considering the inner product space V as a finite dimensional space. Because if V is a finite dimensional space, then we always have a unique adjoint for every linear operator T. If V is not finite dimensional, we have no guarantee of existence of adjoint of a given linear operator. Okay, so let's start our proof. So T is a linear operator on V. So T is a linear operator from V to V. Now we have to prove that T can be uniquely expressed. So first we'll prove T can be expressed as self-adjoint operator. And we must mention that V is finite dimensional inner product space. Okay. Now T can be written as half of t, sorry, this pen is not working properly, half of t plus half of t. Fine. We can always split a quantity into half, in two halves. So half of t plus half of t is equals to t itself. Now I am going to add half of t star, that is half of adjoint of t, and I am going to subtract half of t star. Fair enough, because these two will cancel out, so we are just adding zero transformation, zero operator in this, and we can always do that because t plus 0 by properties of linear transformation would be equals to t itself. And since V is finite dimensional inner product space, so for every linear operator, adjoint will always exist. So T star will exist. So we can add half of T star and we can subtract half of T star. Follow? Here you have to recall that since T is an operator or linear transformation, then A times of T is also a linear transformation, and if T is operator, then A times of T would be a linear operator. Okay, so half of T is a operator, half of T would be operator, half of T star would be operator because T star is an adjoint operator, and similarly minus half of T star would also be a operator. Fair enough. Now we will collect terms. Like this. Okay, in these two terms I would take 1 by 2 common, so we are left with this. Clear? Similarly, take half common from these two terms as well, so we are left with this. Clear? So T can be written as T1 plus T2, where we have named this expression as T1 and this one as T2, where T1 is equals to half of T plus T star and T2 is half of T minus T star. Follow? Now since T is operator, its adjoint is an operator, and we know that sum of two operators is an operator, and again this is an operator, therefore scalar multiple of an operator is also an operator. So T1 is linear operator. Linear operator. I am denoting linear operator by yellow. Also T is operator, T star is operator, their difference would be operator, and half of that would be an operator too. So this is also a linear operator. Clear? So T is expressible as sum of two operators T1 and T2. But how we have to express T? We were supposed to express T as a sum of self-adjoint and a skew-symmetric operator. So we have to check whether T1 or T2 is self-adjoint or skew-symmetric. So let's check that. So now T1 was our half of T plus T star. So let's find out its adjoint. So T1 star would be equals to half of T plus T star and its whole adjoint. Now using the property AT star, that means adjoint of AT, that was equals to conjugate of A into adjoint of T. We have proved this in previous lecture. So using this property we can write it as conjugate of A. here a is 1 by 2. So conjugate of 1 by 2 would be, since 1 by 2 is a real number, so it would be 1 by 2 itself. And adjoint of operator. So t plus t star and its adjoint. This is equals to half of, also in the previous lecture we have proved that adjoint of sum of two operator was equals to sum of their adjoint. So using the same property here, we can write this as adjoint of t plus t star star. We have proved in previous lecture that t star star was equals to t itself. So this is equals to half of t star plus t. Follow? And since addition is commutative for transformations, therefore we can write this as, okay. And what was this? This was t1. So we prove that adjoint of t1 is equals to t1 itself. Therefore t1 is self-adjoint. Now let's find the adjoint of t2. What was t2? t2 was half of t minus t star. So adjoint of t2 would be equals to half of t minus t star and its whole adjoint. Again, using these three properties which we have proved in our previous lecture, we can simplify this, and what we will get, half of t minus t star its whole adjoint, and this can be further simplified as t star minus t star star, and this is equals to half of t star minus t. Clear? And if I take negative sign out, so we will get t minus t star, and which is equals to minus of, what is half of t minus t star? This is t2. So adjoint of t2 is equals to minus of t2, right? Therefore t2 is skew symmetric operator. So t1 is expressible as sum of t1 and t2, where t1 is self-adjoint and t2 is skew symmetric. Follow? So we have proved one part of our theorem, that any linear operator on a finite dimensional inner product space V over F can be expressed as sum of a self-adjoint and a skew symmetric operator. Now what we have to prove next is that this expression is unique. So let's prove that this expression is unique. Whenever you want to prove uniqueness in mathematics, you always have to consider similar expression, and you will prove that both the expressions are identical. So let t can be expressed as sum of two other operators where R is self-adjoint and S is skew symmetric. Follow? So we have considered a similar expression that t can also be expressed as sum of some other self-adjoint and skew symmetric operators which are R and S respectively. Now we will prove that for proving uniqueness we have to prove R is equals to T1 and S is equals to T2. Okay. So for proving that, we know that R is self-adjoint. So R is self-adjoint given. So R is star is equals to R. And S is skew symmetric. Therefore, S star is equals to minus of S. We are going to use this property of R and S for proving that R is equals to T1 and S is equals to T2. Now T is equals to R plus S. Therefore, adjoint of T would be equals to adjoint of R plus S. And again, this can be written as R star plus S star, right? And this is equals to R star is, since R is self-adjoint, R star is R. And since S is Q-symmetric, therefore S star is minus of S. So what we have now? We have two equations expressing T and T star in terms of R and S. Follow? Now we will add, say this is first and say this is second. So adding first and second, we get T plus T star is equals to 2R, because S will cancel out. So this implies R is equals to half of T plus T star. Okay. Similarly, subtracting first and second, we get T minus T star is equals to, now R will cancel out. We are subtracting second from first. So subtracting first and second, that is first minus second. Okay, and minus minus, this would be plus. So plus S, that means twice of S. So S is equals to half of T minus T star. Clear? And what was our T1? T1 was half of T plus T star, and this is R, that means R is equals to T1. And what is S? S is half of T minus T star, and half of T minus T star was our T2, that means S is equals to T2. Follow? So the expression, this implies the expression for T is unique, that is T can be uniquely expressed as sum of self-adjoint and skew-symmetric operators. Okay, so this was required to prove. Okay, let's discuss another theorem. Every linear operator T on a unitary space can be expressed as T1 plus iota T2, where T1 and T2 are Hermitian operators. Here both the operators are self-adjoint. T1 and T2 both are self-adjoint. Now the space we are considering is a unitary space, that means a complex inner product space. The field on which inner product space V is defined is field of complex numbers, and the inner product is the standard inner product. So let T be a linear operator on a unitary space. Here we have to prove that T can be expressed as T1 plus iota times of T2. When T1 and T2 both are self-adjoint, then the expression would be T1 plus iota times of T2. Okay, so in the above theorem, T was expressed as half of T plus T star plus half of T minus T star. Clear? But what do we require here is iota times. So I multiply with iota, I divide with iota. So this will cancel out and this expression is still equals to T. So this is equals to we can write this as T1, this as T1 plus iota, this as T2. So this time T1 is again half of T plus T star. So clearly this will be self-adjoint, and since field is field of complex numbers, therefore we call self-adjoint operator as Hermitian. But T2 has changed this time. T2 is half of 1 by iota times of T minus T star. That means 1 by 2 iota of T minus T star. So we have iota extra here in the denominator. Clear? Now we have to check that T2 is self-adjoint, Hermitian. That means T2 is self-adjoint. So T1, adjoint of T1, clearly half of T plus T star, as we have proved in the above theorem. This would be equals to half of T star plus T star star, and this is equals to half of T star plus T, that is equals to half of T plus T star, and this is actually T1. So T1 and its adjoint are equal. Clear? Now let's find out the adjoint of T2. Adjoint of T2 is equals to 1 by 2 iota T minus T star and its whole adjoint. Now this is scalar, so we have to take by the property that AT adjoint of AT is equals to A conjugate into adjoint of T, right? So we are going to use this result here. Now here we have 1 by 2 iota. 1 by 2 is actually real, but iota is imaginary. So 1 by 2 iota, conjugate of 1 by 2 iota will be equals to minus 1 by 2 iota. T minus T star and its adjoint. So this is equals to minus 1 by 2 iota T star minus T star star, and this is equals to minus 1 by 2 iota T star minus T. Taking negative sign common, minus of 1 by 2 iota minus 1 T minus T star, and minus minus would be plus. So this is equals to 1 by 2 iota T minus T star, right? And this was actually T2. So this is equals to T2. That means adjoint of T2 is equals to T2. So T1 and T2 both are self-adjoint, and since the field here is field of complex numbers, so we can say that T1 and T2 both are Hermitians. So T is expressed as T1 plus iota T2, and we have proved that T1 is Hermitian and T2 is also Hermitian, right? So this was required to prove. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you so much for watching.